Hello again, everyone. This is Gilmer, and this is episode 32. I don't know if you could see my channel when I just pulled it up, but I was just checking to make sure I was getting it right, and it is episode 32, and it is turn 22, and it is November 13th, 1941. I am playing War in the East, Grand Campaign. I am playing as the Soviet Union. And things could be going better, but they could be going worse as well. I like how that's a 5 total in that stack. That means that they're up for the challenge. Now, of course, when I move them, they become 4. But that's okay. We will live with that for now. I want to get that HQ back. Is he now? Yep, he's in command over there. He's not there though. I want to. That way we'll move him a little. Now he's out of. We'll move him back, and then we will move him this way. And then we have him having all his units in his command zone, or whatever you want to call it, where they're getting the most effectiveness out of their headquarters. And before I started recording tonight, I went ahead and moved all my units because I constantly think that, no, well, not all of them, but I constantly believe nobody wants me to see. I mean, nobody wants to see me moving these guys all to the front constantly. Now, yeah, I understand. You know, sometimes you'll miss a couple and you'll have to do it while you're taping, but most of the time it is not fun, I'm sure, for people to watch it. And I'm surprised nobody's really said anything, because maybe it's just because they're very polite. Because I know that if I was watching it, I might not say anything, but I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it at all. So we are moving more and more units up. I've taken everybody off the trains and put them, just on regular movement, and I'm getting most of these guys as close as I can to the combat lines. Here I was trying to do kind of a little pocket, but I was unable to get it done. I'm pretty close, but not quite, which means they might not be getting full supply, which would be good for me, very much so. Sorry, I'm moving around a little bit. I'm trying to put my foot up, but I really think we were set up fairly decently to make sure that they don't break through. These guys are both, no, they're in a town. I was about to say they're both in a swamp, but they're in town. That's good for me. That's one thing, or one of the many things, obviously, you don't really want to do is have your tanks in swamp areas, and probably don't want to have them in heavily wooded areas or mountainous terrain, because I don't think they fight very well. I know they don't fight very well in swamp. Mountainous terrain, I don't think so, or whatever it's called, rough terrain, and then heavily wooded, probably. Use your common sense there. You probably aren't going to do too well with your tanks. Most of these tanks, most of their better tanks on both sides really, were long range type tanks, I would say. I know that probably the T-34 was probably pretty good in closer combat, and the Panther was probably pretty good, but The Tiger tanks were kind of standoff tanks. They had very good range and wanted to shoot at tanks. There were many times, and of course they don't go up against any Shermans here probably, but there were many times on the Western Front that they could destroy a Sherman before a Sherman could get in range of its own guns, because the Sherman mostly had the 75 millimeter uh, gun, and the Tiger tanks had 88 millimeter guns, so they were much more deadly at range than the Sherman was. And a lot of times the Sherman would get blown up before they even got in range. So they had to kind of do mass tactics with the Sherman to kind of rush up on a tank and rush up on a Tiger and attack it with 4 or 5 units, because the Tiger was also much more heavily armored than a Sherman. So they did pretty well against the Sherman, but on the Eastern Front, they didn't do as well, and that's because the Soviets built some pretty good tanks in World War II as well. They did. When I was a kid, I didn't even realize that. I thought the German tanks owned the battlefield, and it's mostly because I was familiar with the Western Front. But when I started learning about the Eastern Front, I realized that the Soviet tank was pretty good on the Eastern Front. It held its own, at least held its own. And they were producing a lot more of them than the Germans were. And I think the Germans only made something like 400 Tiger IIs, and I couldn't tell you the production of the more bigger tanks, the larger tanks, the heavy tanks for the Soviet Union, the IS, the Joseph Stalin, because I is kind of the J in Russian language, but the Joseph Stalin tanks were I think built in pretty much more bigger production numbers than the German Tiger tanks. So, and that had something to do with the Allied bombing as well. A lot of their industrial capacity was getting wiped out almost all the time. Every week they were bombing factories once they got cranked up. So let's go ahead and process a turn. Well, wait a minute. Let's see if we can't do something right here. I don't really expect, if he comes straight here, I don't expect him to go through them it won't be very hard for them to beat this stack, but I think it might be a little harder for them to beat these 2 stacks. I'm hoping that's the case. I hope you guys can hear me. I have been told more than once now, over 2 or 3 videos, that it's hard to hear me sometimes, and I'm trying to do a better job of speaking right into the mic. I hope I'm not, doing the p sound that you hear some people do, where they're like almost over emoting the P's and the T's and what have you. So I try not to do that, but I do want to speak directly into the mic. I don't have one of those, whatever they call them, shields to keep the p sound from coming through. But from what I've heard of my videos, I don't watch every one of my videos. It would be impossible for me to watch my videos and then watch other videos of other people. And so I tend not to watch my own videos unless I'm really needing to check something out. And I've had a couple people tell me that I'm not really speaking into the mics. So what is this guy? How the hell did he get? Holy shit. Oh, he's still in that. That's what it is. He's still in that swamp area. Holy shit. Man, if I could get him over here, that would be awesome. And of course, I moved him this way instead of that way. But that would be awesome. So let's go ahead and process a turn and see if we do better at holding them than we did last term when. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. One other thing I want to do. One last thing I want to do is. Oh. Might help. Yeah, I want to move. Where do we want to put them? Rostov is almost too. Let's put them in Stalingrad. So that's Kirovgrad. They're pretty close. They're pretty close. If this group right here breaks through and swung down, they would take Kirovgrad pretty easily. Sumy? I don't remember ever checking them, but doesn't look like there's really that much going on there. Bryansk, no. Oh, I have 742 rail cap. There are no more factories being moved this turn. So let's go ahead and process this turn. So how's everybody doing? Look at that map without the weather effects on it. That map is beautiful. Nothing against the stock map, but this map is beautiful. It really is something else. And of course I forgot to turn off factories, so we get to see the nice little red patches around cities. Damn. That's not good. I got a feeling that, yeah, there's going to be a lot of pushing forward, moving forward. Shit. But it's November 20th. Hopefully 2 more turns or so and we'll start to see blizzard. Can't wait. Can't wait for the blizzard months. I see Hearts of Iron 4 came out recently. I haven't really had a chance to check out any videos on it. I dabbled a little bit with Hearts of Iron 3, and it was fun. It wasn't bad. I don't dislike the Paradox games. I kind of like, for a war game, I kind of like turn-based movement, but it wasn't bad. If you you can kind of tell yourself you're going to stop every 10 minutes or so, or during a battle, or every 20 minutes or so, and make those your turns. But I'm going to check it out at some point. I know I'll check it out. If the arc of Hearts of Iron 4 on a graph of likability and playability is anything like Hearts of Iron 3, it starts out kind of so, and then it just ramps up after all the different expansions and mods and patches and things like that, and it becomes a fairly good game. I mean, it depends on what what you want. I mean, this is supposed to be, it's an abstract game, obviously, because it's just got little squares floating around a map, but the behind the scenes, they're trying to model the war as closely as possible. Hearts of Iron 3 and Hearts of Iron 4 is a little bit more, you have a little bit more leeway, you have choices over research and production and things like that, so it's different, but it can be very interesting and very fun. I hope one of the things that they've changed with Hearts of Iron 4 over Hearts of Iron 3 is, I had a lot of people tell me the icons were wrong, or the pictures for the units, for it was supposed to be a like a T-26, and it would be something else in the picture. And they said that there were a couple errors like that. But that's flavor. It doesn't really take away from the game, if you ask me. I mean, for some people, they want that. The picture's just got to be right. Every, everything's got to be right, and if it's not, they're kind of mad about it. Which I can understand that to some extent. Yeah, see, they're moving pretty good, moving pretty well against me right now on some fronts. Yeah. But I don't know if you noticed, a lot of my units are getting a lot more powerful. That stack right there is an 11. These couple of stacks over here are 7s. That's a 9. This stack. So, we're not in too bad a shape. Just need for people to quit freaking routing so much. My screen's going a lot blacker, a lot more on this turn than it hasn't so far since I started playing on my new computer. This is a marathon, though. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. You gotta win the long race. You gotta play the long game. Damn! Stop retreating when you have the same amount of men. Now that I can understand. 4-1 odds. But stop retreating when it's 1-for-1. Damn. Show some backbone. Okay, well, I made it through. End of logistics. And I've lost 1,843,000. They've lost 508, 509 really. And mine's 1,843 exactly, almost 8 more. But they're right at 509. See, I don't know how well that's going to work. So, I'm going to put that down for just a minute. I'm talking right into the map, right into the mic. So I hope my words come through very clearly. Oh, you didn't do that to me. I don't know that we'll be able to hold them there, but I do know that it takes something. It takes something out of them when they're cut off like that. Well, this is a pretty damn big hole over here. I don't know if you heard that. I've been getting these weird little system beeps. Oh, wait a minute. Safely remove hardware and eject media. I don't know what that means. I mean, I know what that means, obviously, but I don't know if that just popped up, and if it did, why? Unless maybe, well, my external hard drive isn't hot or anything, so I don't know why they would be asking me to eject it. That's weird. I hope that's not it, because then it means something funny's going on probably. Let's see here. What can we do here? This is where I kind of, or was it? I want to make sure I'm talking right into the mic, because I was just then, I kind of wasn't. I want to make sure I am talking in the mic directly into the mic at all times. That's something you see inexperienced, people with a mic do a lot of. I know I've done it. Not criticizing others for doing it. I've done it. And I want to make sure I am not doing it, because all it does is make the broadcast kind of, the voice goes in and out. That's probably what I was doing before. And I can pocket these guys as well. And that is Lightwoods. So, okay, I want to move him up. I want to move him back. Unready. Let's move him back out of the way. Let's move him up because he's a 3. Let's move him up for the same reason. There's some pretty strong units here. We'll move one there. Oh crap. Look at all that. Is that something I need to be worried about? I hope not. Let's see. Ooh, yeah. There we go. So I'm going to let them kind of simmer a little before I do any attacks. Look at this. Oh, wait a minute. That's... I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. That's not... I was thinking that was down here. I was thinking, shit, I don't remember having a front like that right by the marshes. The marshes, I mean. The marches. So, we kind of have a pocket here. As you can see, it looks like they're kind of moving back a little afraid maybe of the coming blizzard, coming bad weather. Hope so, because I'm definitely hoping it's rough on them. We want to move him there. here. So just kind of positioning my guys again, trying to make sure that I don't have anybody cut off other than the ones I already know of that I couldn't do anything for. See, these guys should be. Yeah, see it. I think it stops on 500, which I screwed up and let it go. How about here? Doing so good here. What is that red? Let's move these guys back. Might be time to really push these guys back and shore up our lines here. And that will shorten our lines and give us a way to. I'm sorry, I'm really concentrating here, but it'll give us a way to shorten our lines so that we can move some of these guys further along the lines and give us a chance to use them. Because I really don't. Because see how that has really made that area dense now? So that makes things a little bit better for us. I need to get some more units right in here, though, to be honest. And they should come from right here. I don't like these guys being out there. But there's not. He can't move. And they can't move. Oh, look at that. Let's protect those guys. I don't like this. It's time to there you can move across that area, I think. I haven't moved these guys. Not this turn. Alright, well, we are going to call episode 32 to a close. We're getting there. In a couple more turns, this is gonna be something to behold, if you ask me. I think that it's gonna be. I really do. I really think I'm going to bring the pain to these guys to some extent. I mean, obviously there are other places where I'm not doing so well, but it'll be time to start taking them down, taking them out. Let me do one attack here. Didn't work, but anyway, that's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I will be back soon. Be watching for the next video.